The night everything inside me finally snapped didn't start with a fight hit. Started with a toast. My mother lifted her glass, smiling with the confidence of someone who believed she understood everything about her daughters. To Julia, she announced proudly, "She's responsible, successful, and doesn't need help from anyone." Unlike some people. The room went silent. My fork hovered mid-air. Even the chandelier seemed to stop buzzing. Across the table, my sister Julia, perfect hair, perfect nails, perfect curated life, basked in the compliment like she'd earned every last drop of it. But no one at that table knew what I knew. For 2 years, I had been quietly sending her $3,500 every single month. Responsible, independent, didn't need help. Every word hit me like a hand closing around my throat. My cheeks burned not from embarrassment this time, but from rage so sharp it almost felt clean. My mother continued, oblivious, "Some people just know how to stand on their own 2 feet, Megan." That was it. Something inside me cracked straight down the middle. I pushed my chair back slowly, letting the scraping sound slice through the quiet. "You're right," I said, keeping my eyes locked on Julia's. "It's great that she doesn't need help. Because starting today, she won't be getting any from me." Julia's face drained of color. My mother's smile collapsed. My father finally looked up from the dinner he'd been ignoring all night. I hadn't even raised my voice, but that single sentence hit the table like a grenade. No one breathed. No one blinked. They had no idea that this was only the beginning. Later that night, I drove home with my mother's words echoing inside my chest like poison. "Successful and responsible, unlike you." I walked into my apartment and opened my banking app, scrolling through page after page of transfers. Month after month, year after year. Tens of thousands of dollars. I remembered every excuse Julia had fed me. My job is unstable. The industry is tough. I'm so close to a breakthrough, just a little more help. And I remembered something even worse, the years of being compared to her. The constant, "Why can't you be more like your sister?" Maybe that's why I said yes the first time she asked for money. Maybe I wanted to prove I wasn't the failure they assumed I was. But staring at those transfers, something shifted inside me. I wasn't supporting her. I was funding the illusion that she was better than me, and I needed answers, real ones. Not from her. From someone who actually knew who Julia really was behind the polished facade. So I opened a chat window, typed a message, and hit send. "Hey, I need to ask you something about my sister. Do you have time?" Because deep down, I already knew I was prepared for the truth I was about to uncover, but I also knew this would change everything. The reply came faster than I expected. "Hey Megan, long time. Sure, I can talk. Want to grab coffee?" My stomach twisted. This wasn't catching up. This was an investigation. A few hours later, I was sitting in a small corner cafe, hands wrapped around a cup I couldn't bring myself to drink. When he walked in, the guy who'd gone to college with my sister, he smiled politely, totally unaware that I was about to ask him something that could blow my family's carefully curated world apart. After a few minutes of small talk, I cut straight to the surface. "I need to ask you something about Julia," I said, voice low. His eyebrows lifted. "Okay, what's going on?" "You know how my parents talk about her job? Big firm, management track, important clients." I paused, then said it bluntly. "I've been sending her $3,500 a month for 2 years. If she's doing so well, why does she need my money?" The shock on his face wasn't subtle. "You're sending her what?" My jaw tightened. "Yeah, so tell me the truth. Is she actually working where she says she is?" He sighed and rubbed his forehead. "Last I heard, she wasn't at any big firm at all. She got fired from her last stable job. And since then, she's been doing random freelance work. Nothing consistent. Nothing special." Everything in the cafe went fuzzy around the edges as his words sank in. Fired. Freelance. No career, no promotion. Just lies. He continued. "Honestly, it always felt like she was keeping up an image. Fancy clothes, fancy brunches, trips. She acted like she had it handled." I bit hard on the inside of my cheek to keep from laughing bitterly. I thought of all the times Julia posted photos, captioned rewarding myself while I was skipping dinners to make sure I could afford her latest emergency. Then came the part that hit deepest. "She told people you were controlling," he added hesitantly. "That you held money over her head. That you were jealous." For a second, it felt like the floor dropped out from under me. Jealous, controlling, manipulative. So that's how she justified bleeding me dry by painting me as the villain. I pulled up my banking app and turned the phone toward him. Rows of transfers. Endless zeros. "This is what I've done for her. I said quietly. He stared, stunned. Megan, that's not helping anymore. That's exploitation. On the drive home, every mile sharpened my resolve. If Julia wanted to live inside a lie, fine. But she wasn't going to do it on my back anymore. I opened my laptop that night and created a folder. Screenshots, bank statements, photos, dates, proof. Because soon I was going to confront my sister with all of it. And I was auntie sure whether the truth would simply expose her or completely tear our family in half. I didn't warn her I was coming. If I had, she would have staged everything, cleaned up the lies, straightened the mask, made her life look as flawless as her Instagram feed. I wanted the real thing. The unfiltered, unedited version. Her building alone made my chest tighten. Marble floors. A concierge desk. Soft lighting that whispered money. Funny how someone struggling could afford a place like this while I was cutting corners to keep her afloat. I rode the elevator up, my bag heavy with printed bank statements, screenshots, and 2 years of suppressed anger. When she opened the door, her smile was rehearsed too bright, too polished, too fake. Megan, this is a surprise, she chirped. Yeah, I said, stepping inside. That's kind of the point. Her apartment looked like a magazine spread. Designer decor, perfect cushions, not a single sign of a person drowning financially, just the life I'd accidentally bankrolled. Nice place, I said. Must be that amazing job. She tensed for half a second before laughing it off. You know how it is. Long hours, hard work. It pays off. I sat down on her pristine couch and placed my bag on the table. So tell me, I said calmly, what exactly does this job of yours involve? What kind of question is that? She snapped lightly. You talked to Mom, didn't you? She always misunderstands. No, I said, pulling the folder from my bag. I talked to someone else. Her smile froze. What does that mean? I dropped the stack of bank statements on her table, pages and pages of evidence. It means I want the truth, I said. All of it. She stared at the papers like they were radioactive. Megan, this is invasive, she hissed. When have I paid for most of this apartment? Yeah, I think I'm entitled to a conversation. I pulled up screenshots on my phone. Here, I said, flipping through the photos. Your vacations, your designer bags, your rooftop dinners. Tell me what part of this looks like someone barely surviving. Her face crumpled into anger. You offered to help, she shouted. You always do this, you act superior, like you're the victim. Superior, I echoed. You told people I was jealous. That I controlled you with money. All while letting Mom praise you for being the successful, independent daughter. She flinched at that finally. You want the truth, she said sharply. Fine, no, I don't work at that firm. I never did. I lied. I panicked. I didn't want them to think I failed. And my money, I asked. She looked away. Rent, bills, clothes, sometimes trips. I needed to look like I was doing well. I stared at her, feeling something heavy settle in my chest. You didn't just lie, I said quietly. You built an entire life on my sacrifices, then told everyone I was the problem. She didn't deny it, she couldn't. But the confrontation was only the beginning because soon my parents were going to hear everything, and that was when the real explosion would happen. 2 days after confronting Julia, my phone lit up with my mother's name. Her voice was light, cheerful, annoyingly unaware. Megan, sweetheart, you really should be more patient with your sister, she said. She's under a lot of pressure at work. They're giving her more responsibilities. Maybe you could learn something from her dedication. I closed my eyes and exhaled slowly. Even now, Julia was still feeding them stories. Still letting them applaud a version of her that didn't even exist. Mom, I said evenly, we need to talk, all of us. Tonight, she hesitated. Why? What happened? You'll see, I replied. It's time you did. That evening, I walked into my parents' house with my laptop under my arm, feeling less like a daughter and more like someone about to present evidence in court. My father sat quietly in his usual chair. My mother fussed with plates, wiping invisible crumbs off the table. Julia's running late, she said proudly. Important jobs are demanding, you know. I opened my laptop. We don't need to wait for her. My mother frowned. Megan, don't start anything. I'm not starting anything, I said. I'm ending something. I pulled up the first bank statement and turned the screen toward them. For the last 2 years, I began, I've been sending your successful, responsible daughter $3,500 every single month. Because she asked. Because she said she needed it. Because she wasn't working where she claimed she was. My father's brow shot up. Wait, what? Why would she need that kind of money? My mother scoffed. Megan, you're confused. If anyone was sending anyone money, Julia would be supporting you. Really? I flipped to the long list of identical transfers. Take a look. These are my accounts. That's her name. The denial on her face crumbled as she stared at the numbers. How? How could this be? She whispered. I clicked again, opening the folder of screenshots, vacations, handbags. Luxury dinners, all captioned as if Julia had earned them. My father leaned in, his voice suddenly hard. She lied to us. No, I corrected. She built a lifestyle on my back and let you praise her while you scolded me. Before they could respond, the front door opened. Julia walked in, smiling like nothing was wrong. But when she saw my laptop open, her expression flickered. What are you doing? She demanded. We're having a family conversation, I said. Sit. My parents turned to her, my mother confused and hurt, my father stone-faced. Julia's facade cracked. Megan is twisting everything. She snapped. She's obsessed with making me look bad. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. I've shown them the transfers, I said calmly. All of them. So go ahead, tell them again how independent you are. Her face drained completely. In that moment, she knew the show was over. But none of us were prepared for what she would say next or how far the truth would ripple through our family. For the first time in years, Julia wasn't glowing under the spotlight, she was shrinking beneath it. My father's voice cut through the tension. Is it true? He asked quietly. Did you lie about your job? About everything. Julia's jaw tightened, her eyes darting between the three of us like she was searching for an escape route that didn't exist. I didn't lie, she said, her voice cracking. I just exaggerated. I had interviews. Some contract work. I was going to get the job, I just needed more time. You told us you were a manager, my mother whispered, her voice trembling. You told us they depended on you. Julia swallowed hard. I thought it would happen eventually. And the money? I asked, keeping my voice steady. The 2 years of $3,500 a month. What did you use that for? Rent? Bills? Or were the vacations and handbags necessary for the illusion, too? Her eyes flashed defensively. I was drowning, Megan. You don't understand the pressure of being the one everyone expects to succeed. You've always had your life together. I stared at her, stunned by the twisting of logic. You built your reputation using my sacrifices, I said quietly. And while you were pretending to be unstoppable, I was working overtime, skipping meals, and cutting corners so your fantasy wouldn't collapse. My mother covered her mouth, tears filling her eyes. I compared Megan to you for years, she whispered, and all along, she was the one standing on her own. Julia's composure shattered, then not the elegant tears she posted online, but messy, raw sobs. I just needed more time, she cried. Please, Megan, just give me one more month. One more transfer. I swear I'll fix everything. I'll get a real job. I'll know. My voice was firm, unshakable. You've had time. You've had help. You've had chances. But I'm not going to destroy my future to keep pretending your life is perfect. She blinked, stunned. So that's it. You want to watch me fall? I'm not watching you fall, I said. I'm stepping out of the way. The rest is up to you. My father stood tall, his tone final. The money stops, he said. From everyone. Julia backed away like she'd been struck. I can't pay my rent without help, she whispered. I have debts. I have responsibilities. Then start living within reality, I replied. Not a fantasy built on other people's work. She grabbed her bag, eyes blazing and wounded all at once. You think you've won, she snapped. When I'm gone, and you're under all their expectations, we'll see how long you last. The door slammed behind her, leaving the house vibrating with the shock of everything that had unfolded. My mother turned to me, tears falling openly now. You shouldn't have carried this alone, she said softly. I'm sorry, Megan. For the first time, I felt seen. The weeks that followed weren't dramatic, they were quiet. No more comparisons. No more praise thrown blindly at Julia. No more secret transfers draining my life away. Julia downsized her apartment, sold luxury items, and eventually took a modest job, the kind she once sneered at. She even texted me a picture of her first honest paycheck. It's small, but it's mine. I stared at it for a long time before replying. Good, keep going. Because in the end, my victory wasn't in watching her struggle. My victory was finally choosing myself. For years, I'd been the invisible daughter, the dependable one, the quiet one, the backup plan, the human safety net. But walking away from that role didn't make me cruel. It made me free. And the real question, the one I still ask myself is this: when the golden child's crown finally slips, do you fix it for them? Or let them learn what it feels like to stand without someone else holding it in place? Thanks for watching the video, subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon.